Live from the comfy confines of the Flannel Beaver Studios in Northern Ontario, Canada, comes the SWC Round Table. Welcome, everybody. Once again, I'm your host, Rob Cast, or I prefer moderator, because we have a lot of hosts today on this podcast. Today, we're going to do the long-awaited Rogue One Retrospective. This has been put on the back burner for far too long. We're going to go over Star Wars. It was their second release since the Disney takeover. We're going to hash over. It's been a few years now. We'll be able to talk about what we were feeling at the time and what we're feeling now. But I don't do it alone, fortunately. That would be terrible. I'm going to go around the horn real quick. First, from the Sandcrawler podcast, we have Mike with us. Mike, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. How's it going today?
Welcome. Are you ready to talk Rogue One? I hear you like this movie.
Oh, just a little. This is 4 hours today, right? Because
we'll see. It is Saturday. We do have stuff to do. Although we're in Ontario here, we're in quarantine, so we got nowhere to go.
Yeah, exactly.
If we go,
I got to work on Monday, but I think I can get everything I want to say between Saturday morning and Monday morning. So
fantastic.
I'm here for it. Yep.
All right. Continuing down the okay, you're Southern Ontario. We're going to skip over on the 401. We're going to head a little bit northeast. We're going to head over to Montreal to my good buddy Carlos Candido from the Tumbling Saber Podcast, represented once again.
Yes, sir.
Carlos is no stranger to the Round Table and to the Roman Podcast.
That's correct.
You actually jumped in. If you want to hear myself and Carlos with a little bit of a blue hue. For a little bit better adult, not better, but just adult humor, you can check out the Roman Podcast. I think a few episodes, 249 or something, he's on there. Check it out. Yeah, you won't be disappointed. And actually, we'd be more proud if you were disappointed.
Yeah. Actually, there's even the Year in Review podcast that you spliced together, and I happened to bookend.
Yes,
I was at the beginning and the end of all those clips, which was great because I also subbed in during the holidays the previous year.
Yeah, when Roman was off, I didn't realize. You're one of my go-to guys. Hey, Roman's taking a week off. You want to jump in? And when I put together the year-end Greatest Clip Show, Volume 5, it starts with Carlos and it ends with Carlos. So
I mean, that's the way things should be. Come on, let's.
It should be, really.
Come
Absolutely. On. All right. And again, to close this out, joining us once again, Marc, for someone that's recovering, this is becoming a habit. Welcome back to the Round Table, Marc Godsiff. How you doing, Marc?
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I'm good. This is, again, another one of my addictions that's your fault. Another wagon that I've toppled off.
See, you spend a week in Florida with Rob. I can't take
it. You're hooked on so much nasty.
Yes. Marc Godsiff from the UK. Now he's going to be known as Florida Man. Over.
Yes.
Every newspaper headline. If it starts,
Google it, kids.
Yeah. If it starts with Florida Man, not good. Actually, there's another. We don't have any Americans with us today, which is rare and odd. But there's another brand new resident of Florida. I'm sure we'll hear lots from in the future.
Let's not.
We're not going there today.
Let's not and say we did.
Okay. Let's not. Yeah. So again, we're going live today on Facebook, and again, anybody this is going out as an audio podcast, of course. And I have to implore everybody: we release the SWC Roundtable on Talk Star Wars still. Rob Wade and I still get along very, very well. We're not getting divorced, but this podcast has spun off on its own to its own feed. But Rob's been awesome. So he's releasing this roundtable on the Talk Star Wars feed. But that's not going to last forever. So I implore you, look up SWC Roundtable on your iTunes or your Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts, and subscribe to this, because then in the future you won't miss any future episodes. So there we go. That's the homework out of the way. Gentlemen, I guess, okay, Mike, you have a lot to say about this movie. Rogue One, released in
2016?
2016, yes, correct. Right. This is not trivia time. I was actually having a brain fart. I
was told there'd be no trivia on today's show. So,
no. So 2016, Rogue One, this was the first non-saga movies, if you don't count the Clone Wars, which we're not counting.
No.
So, Mike, let's start off where we were at that time and what were you hoping for? We know you loved it, so let's just start. We're going to go around the horn and just say what our frame of mind was going into this movie.
Well, I remember when we started, we saw that mystery trailer at one of the celebrations that quickly disappeared online, and it was just...
Mark, you were at that panel, weren't you?
I think, Mike, are you referring to the one where they flew in and the Death Star was on the horizon? There's all that radio chatter.
Yeah. It took the roll up. And okay. Right on.
Yeah, that was the year before the celebration I was at, so I didn't see that one.
Okay.
Anyway, so go ahead, Mike. Sorry about it.
So they would highlight in that trailer, the bits about the rebels have won their first victory and stolen the plans and blah, blah, blah. And that got me pumped because it's like, you guys are taking one sentence and making a movie. And my sort of my comfort zone, my callback when it comes to Star Wars that isn't regular Star Wars is the old Marvel comic series. And I remember thinking this is what we would have gotten back in the day, back in the 70s and the 80s.
Right.
I know there's books, there's EU, there's all that stuff, but I'm not big on that. But I'm like, we're going to get in between and it's going to be awesome. And I mean, for me personally, the Rebels is my favorite thing about Star Wars. Put big air quotes in a big banner. That's what I love most about Star Wars is the fight, and then beyond all the what do I want to say? Beyond all the messages and all that of what's behind the Rebel Alliance and all that, it's the focus of my collecting. I have a giant Rebel base diorama and I just love it. I just love everything Rebel. So it's like, let me get this straight. You're going to do a movie about the Rebels. So they had me at that. And, to me, they pulled it off. I flip flop since 2016 because it's like, well, you can't not pick one of the OT movies, say, as your favorite Star Wars.
Yeah, you can.
Well, you're not supposed to, right? I mean, you have to. You gotta pick.
I do not follow those rules. I do not follow those rules.
Well, I've always had A New Hope as my favorite Star Wars ever, and I'd have to say, probably in the last year and a half, 2 years, it's Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars movie. It has everything I want from a Star Wars movie. So,
fantastic. So, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, yeah, it's going into it though. Where was your bar? Like, we just came off of The Force Awakens, which was raised the bar a lot considering what this is what I look into. Before Phantom Menace, everybody was so excited. They're like, can you imagine what George Lucas is going to be able to do with today's technology at the time?
Right.
We put the bar so high, there was no way it was clearing it. Like, it wouldn't matter if they didn't have Jar Jar, didn't matter all the complaints about this movie. There's no way you can clear that. I think going into Force Awakens, everybody was like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. But wait a second. We were bitten once with Phantom Menace. Let's go in with low expectations. So it basically set up the scenario for, well, that was a great Star Wars movie, and we were expecting decent. Right. So we came out of there feeling fantastic. So now we're going on the Rogue One. We got all the Force Awakens hype. You are a Rebels fan. So is that good enough for you? Were you like, okay, I'm good?
Well, now that you mention it, now that it was the next movie following The Force Awakens, I have sort of a love-hate relationship with the sequels.
Right.
In that I was okay with everything ending at Return of the Jedi. I love the movies. They're but that story, I was like, okay, well, if you want to pick it up 40 years later, I didn't need to see legacy characters. I just thought, let's see more Star Wars 40 years down the road. So I had some disappointments with The Force Awakens. So I think when this came out, it was a little bit kind of arms crossed. All right, let's see what you got. But I think I was holding on to the fact that it's in an era I wanted to see.
Well,
you rated the start of the rebellion.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Rated the start of the rebellion as opposed to way after where I thought the story was going to end. So it was sort of, and I think that's the whole the Marvel Comics comparison I made a couple minutes ago. Is it's like this is going to sandwich in between kind of what we know.
Right.
So that's what I was looking most forward to. I think I was a little bit okay. Well, let's just see how it goes. because Force Awakens did have some, I had some issues with it. But,
All right. Carlos.
Yeah, man.
We can always listen back to Tumbling Saber, and I think you had.
I wasn't on the show back then.
No,
I was a contributor with voicemails and.
But didn't you go to the dinner pre-dinner? Didn't you pregame with the boys before the movie?
That I did.
I remember something about a steak bet or something. I don't. It's all a cloud. Something about Corey and steak, and I'm sure there was beer involved.
There was definitely beer. There was a James and Corey bet about calamari. There was
yes, there it is. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, there was a ton of like anterior stuff going on, which was cool. No, it was my first of many dinners with the boys before a Star Wars movie. It was really cool. I was excited. Like Mike, I had some reservations because you know what, the prequels were visually stunning in some parts, and in others were clunky. The directing was terrible, and the script could have used a lot more real directors and real script writers. But I think the storyline, the arc of the prequels was very good, and we could see that now with the love for the prequels. Is that, you know what, put all the other crap aside, all that. The stuff that we look at, like the candy, put that aside, and the main meat and potatoes of the prequels is great storytelling. And coming into the sequel trilogy, I was kind of all in. Like, yeah, give me more I want more Star Wars. I don't care what era it is. Just like right now, I'm actually listening to the audiobook of Light of the Jedi. For the High Republic, and it's Star Wars, man. Like, yeah, okay, it doesn't have our known characters that we know and love, but guess what? We'll get to know them. Like, right. That's the whole point. So I was like Mike, same thing. I had reservations after The Force Awakens. Visually blew my mind. Some of the choices. I was already not a fan of J.J. Abrams before that because of Lost, and I was like, how is he going to finish this? And he literally built in a cliffhanger. Like, I wish I could have punched him in the balls. Like, and what he ended up doing was tying future directors' hands together, and I think that was Disney's biggest miscalculation, was not having one director direct all three movies. But that's a different story. So when we come to Rogue One. I was like, yeah, give it to me. Like, I want to see that. Like, it's just like when you see the crawl for episode 4 and they talk about, the battle. And then in Leia's message to Obi-Wan about serving her father in the Clone Wars, it's like, yeah, you're setting up so much stuff that we don't see right now, but it's before. And now we get to see that. And I'm sure, and I kind of know why Rogue One is probably your favorite now, Mike, is because it actually butts up like smash cut right into episode 4. So it's like, it's perfect. And for me, it is my, like, it floats in the top 3 of my Star Wars movies with Empire and Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
But most days it's on the top of that list, and it's rare that a month goes by without me watching this movie, and it's for so many different reasons, and the directing, and there's a little I've beat the drum about the score so many times that there's some parts, like some little themes that I really don't like, but they're my favorite theme in all of Star Wars. Or right at the top is the Master Switch on the Battle of Scarif. So there's so many great things, and it's not John Williams. Like, it's blows my mind. Like, so it's no. I'm just happy to be talking about this. Finally, being able to sit down with some
like-minded
people and some good guys, and we were able to talk about this. I'm really happy.
Okay, I'm going to pass it to Marc. Now, Marc, you are the recovering podcaster.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to have to explain to our listeners something about Marc. When Marc sees something on a trailer or reads it somewhere, we will theorize about something. Remember, we were thinking Jocasta Nu with the sequel trailers, and then the Bearish Vow.
Yes,
because remember we were doing we were doing TSW's comics, so we had all this back knowledge, and basically when we went into one of the sequel movies, we're thinking, or went to Last Jedi, we're thinking, oh, it's Jocasta Nu, and it's the Jedi Archives, and it's the Luke's taking a Bearish Vow. We had it figured out, except our thing is we'll hash out this idea, and then we're like, okay, and now every prediction we make off that, we're basically making predictions off what we think is a rock solid prediction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we see something, make that headcanon, and then now we develop the movie. You and I have done that lots of times. So it's like, okay, that's when we're watching when we look at the trailer for, I listened to your recovery podcast about The Force Awakens, and you're talking about, oh, that's obviously Tatooine. That's obviously that. So basically we lay this groundwork, and then everything else after comes, okay, now the movie's canon off these certain plot points. Then we get into the movie and it's like, oh, wait, my base plot point was wrong. So it dominoes our entire theory throughout the whole movie. So going into Rogue One, this is where I'm getting at with you being the recovery. I'm sure you're going to cover it on your recovery podcasting, looking over what you guys were thinking prior to Rogue One. What were you thinking prior to Rogue One? I know you're going to touch on this probably, like we're going into the movie. We'll get your thoughts on it in a little bit, but this is just like a preamble. What were we expecting?
I was expecting there were a few specifics I was expecting,
right,
that didn't pan out. You know, everything you just said about theorizing, I built an entire podcast around that concept of
absolutely
taking a crumb of information and blowing it up into something that sometimes paid off, sometimes didn't pay off. So I was expecting from Rogue One to know where it was going. Much like, Carlos, you mentioned the prequels, the prequels, we knew where it would start and where it would end because that was already set in stone when we went in the door for the first screening. With Rogue One, I knew where it was going to end. I had no idea I was going to get there. I was expecting it to be full of surprises. I didn't expect it to be what it turned out to be for me, which is the pinnacle of Disney Star Wars. I think it's I was going to joke when we started and say that this movie blew, but I couldn't even carry that off. It to me is the very apex of what Disney have achieved, and it's just dropped precipitously since. And that's only because this film is so high, so very good. Everything about the experience of it for me, not just the movie itself, which I think is one of my favorites out of the entire bunch, probably Star Wars Empire and Rogue. But everything that led up to it. Yeah. I was a year into podcasting with Talk Star Wars. I went to the celebration and saw the trailers that didn't go public. I saw the panel. I saw the spoilers get dropped on that panel, which we can talk about in a little while. For me, the entire experience of Rogue One is wrapped up, not just the film itself, but everything we did on the run up to it, the expectations, the theorizing, and everything that came at the back of it, the deconstructing it, right up to today, where I rewatched it last night so we can discuss it today. It is the perfect Star Wars film for me in just about every way. I was expecting to like it. I don't know that I expected to love it. And I don't know that I expected it to knock me around quite as much as it did with the surprises and the way it builds on the canon of Star Wars as well. When you think that they're wedging a story in, like Mike said, you're telling a story between the lines, literally. And I can recount something from Celebration a little bit later on about the opening crawl. But they were literally jamming a story in between the lines, and they managed to build an entire world in there, like a microcosm for Star Wars.
Quick question, if I jump in right here, Mark.
Yep.
When you watched it yesterday,
yes.
Does it change for you every time you watch it? Like, how do you feel about the movie every time you watch? Do you love it a little bit more? Do you see things that you didn't see previously? Like, talk about that a bit.
Yeah, I do. That is very much the case. Every time I go to a movie, I'm a little bit different, I guess. And in this instance, it was a different version of the film I'd seen because I hadn't really seen it in the glorious 4K presentation I saw yesterday. And that is just tasty beyond belief.
Also, too, just real quick, Mark, your experience, because you work in the cinema industry, you get to see these movies a couple days before. Yeah, even us that see it as soon as it drops. So you're usually by yourself or with a couple coworkers. Yeah. So you don't have the whole.
No, not until after.
Yeah, you don't have the whole premiere that get out of the theater. Oh, there's a private message group with all of us that because we make sure we don't spoil it because we're all over the world and all our friends are like, okay, I've seen it, and that's all you say, and you don't drop anything, and we make a separate group for people that have to wait till Friday night or whatever. So you're missing that the evening of, and whatever our ritual is, whether it's date night with the wife, whether it's beers with the boys with Carlos, whatever you got to do before a Star Wars movie to get ready for it. Yours is the ritual. There is just, I'm assuming it's not because it's work for you. You're like, oh, I can throw it on at work. Yeah,
it is. It's like the rehearsals that I get to sit in on. So with Revenge of the Sith was the first one when I was in the industry. I saw that on my own completely, but that was 35mm. And then with Force Awakens, there was 3 of us. And with Rogue One, there was 2 of us. Just myself and my boss watching that movie. And I don't think he'll want to watch a film with me again because it was sort of embarrassing. I'm a grown man and it got a little bit messy. I'm so animated when I'm watching a film for the first time. And I think that it's internal monologue, but it's certainly not because I'm having to scream over the audio in a theater.
There's Mark. Andy Dufresne.
Yeah, there was lots of things like we had one of the theories about, maybe you don't remember, one of the theories I had about Rogue One was that when I didn't know it was going to be the crash on Edo, but when they crashed on Edo, I thought they were going to scrap that U-wing and escape in the shuttle Tiberium. That was my theory. And I reached out to Jason Ward and said, "You heard anything about this? Do you think this might happen?" And he hadn't heard anything. He thought it was a great theory. So all the way through, when they crashed the U-wing on Edo, I was like saying out loud, "This is going to be the shuttle Tiberium.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, this is going to happen. This is going to be a thing." And of course, it didn't, which is even better because I like when my theories don't play out. If I can be surprised by something. But that's where I thought that was going. So yeah, it was a roller coaster ride for me. It was terribly disappointing for my boss, who had the entire film ruined for him. A very unique experience, and I'm very lucky.
Excellent. Okay, we're gonna. Myself going into it, I'm not one of these. Oh, I love everything Star Wars makes. I just take it as it comes, and I'm just like Mike said. Star Wars ended for me in 1983 after Jedi, and that was kind of ended it. And then anything else has been bonus for me. Everything it's been cool. And Star Wars like pizza. It's like, is there a crappy pizza? No, it's all decent. There's some awesome pizza. But you know what I mean? So it just, I'll take it. And I was the same way with the sequels trilogy. It's like, maybe this wasn't for me, but there was a lot of fan service for me. I had my ups and downs with the prequels. I was like, well, here, George Lucas, like, well, yeah, you don't like it, right? Because it's for the kids. Well, I do enjoy the prequels. I don't not dislike them. They're not my favorites, but it's still Star Wars because I like the lore. I like the universe. I like what he's created. I also had some misgivings with. I'm not going to be an apologist for Lucas. I also had misgivings. It's like, well, yeah, you don't like it. A lot of people don't like it because it's made for kids, and now you got all these adults that are going there expecting like a kids movie. I'm like, yeah, but you also had about half an hour, 45 minutes of the movie is like parliamentary procedures. You can't hang that kids banner on the prequel movies, especially the Phantom Menace. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I get it if it was all Ewoks and Jar Jar, but no, it's not just for kids.
Mace Windu literally decapitates a Mandalorian, and his son picks up the head. Like, it's not just for kids.
Yeah, exactly. So going in the Rogue One, I'm right there. And this is, of course, this round table started by then. Our community is in full bloom. Like we're all now, not only do we have our close friends aren't the ones, oh, you know who's going to see that opening night? That Rob guy down the road. Or, you know, it's now we have somewhere to talk about it. I mean, and it's like, hey, the whole world can hear my wonderful opinion about Jocasta New and something about me. I mean, like it's, and you know, for whatever reason. So when I went in the Rogue One, I was expecting, oh, this is cool because I know it's apparently right before. It's how we get the plans. Okay, I'm all for it. I was expecting, oh, you know what they're going to do? They're going to go Rogue 2 about the Bothans from Return of the Jedi. They're going to do this, and I had all this other. I had the next 20 years of Star Wars mapped out for them. I still do if you need it. I mean, your phases 1 through 20, at least to get me to the end of my lifetime. After that, you can do whatever you want. So
you need to turn in your Star Wars card there because Rogue 2 was actually in Empire. So has nothing to do with the Bothans.
I was expecting the whole Bothan story about how many lost their lives and all this other stuff.
How cool would it have been if they had named that movie Rogue 3 instead, just to have that Rogue 2 in the middle?
Sandwich somewhere, this missing Rogue. So for me, I was just happy with more Star Wars, and then it also too, it had that look that I think Force Awakens tried, but like I think Mark, you pointed out how it took us, you know, seeing the Falcon fly in atmosphere took us out of the movie because as Star Wars OT projected generation, we're like, well, we've never seen that before. So it just took us out of that Apocalypse Now shot with the TIE fighters. But this was more, we kind of got that with Force Awakens, and it was shot. The stormtroopers were a little dirty. You know what I mean? Like it was made like George.
It was more gritty. It was a grittier movie.
Yeah, George Lucas is like, no, everything in space isn't shiny and aluminium. It's all. It's not supposed to be polished. This is a smuggler's ship. It's supposed to be dirty. His socks are supposed to be lying around.
The tone of it is absolutely perfect. Spot
exactly. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Well, you mentioned the Force Awakens and you know the callbacks it wanted to have to the OT, and I think that's the one big difference between that and Rogue One is Force Awakens had had the Resistance base, underground anyway, in a looking like in an old jungle temple,
right?
Which to me was like, well, are we on Yavin or aren't we on Yavin? To me, the choice would have been give us a different look, give us a different setting. When you literally went to Yavin in Rogue One, it was like that was my Chewie we're home moment.
Yes.
To really confuse movies. That's where they were before. That's where they should be because in 2 hours they're going to be there when we watch A New Hope, and it's the callbacks in the sequel seemed a little more ham-fisted.
Yes.
Oh yes. Yeah, I'm with you there.
For example, the chess table aboard the Falcon in. That was Force Awakens, right? Where it accidentally hits the buttons, and it's like, well, you don't have to tell it. We get it. We know what that table is, you know.
The train.
Whereas in Rogue One, Bail Antilles comes out of the shadows.
Yeah.
Or
you
know what I mean? It fit better. Yeah, it was like, of course that should be there.
I'm looking over your shoulder right now, and I see Saul Guerrero, and he was in the Clone Wars. That was a great Easter egg for fans of the expanded universe and the Clone Wars, but it wasn't necessary. It wasn't like
you didn't need to know it, did you?
Exactly.
Yeah, but nothing. Yeah. Look, this is the thing. Like when we talk about anytime from 1980 on, everything Star Wars is fan service. They're servicing the fans who enjoyed the first movie, like
100%. Yep.
So I don't get precious about Ponda Baba and Dr. Evazan. I loved seeing them there. Mm-hmm. It was like, cool. You know why? Yeah. Because I'm an adult who's mentally balanced, and I don't have to get angry at something that I wouldn't have written.
Sure on that one.
Well, whatever. I mean, in theory, right?
Yeah.
Like
legally,
yeah. But so I don't get even the holo chess, like Finn just knocking it over and then it turning on is like, oh, cool. It kind of left off from where they left off in episode 4. It's like, all right. Awesome. Like it's not going to ruin my night. The popcorn's not going to taste crappier now because I saw that. So like, I have the issues I have with it are the with the sequels where Rogue One does not suffer from this at all is the dumb things that they try to do, like the Star Killer base and that one beam splitting off into 6 beams to destroy 6 planets in one shot. It's really stupid, but like I know what JJ tried to do, and he wanted to make the old Star Wars relevant and kind of pay tribute to it, but there were better ways to do it, and I think Rogue One is the epitome of the best ways to do that type of stuff.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, it's no coincidence that Rogue One meshes real well. I was rewatching it last night, and it meshes real well with Mandalorian. Same universe look, same
the aesthetic. Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, it's
Jeddah and so forth.
It's less than 10 years apart, right? So it's like it's not like the universe is that much different. Whereas I understand the look of the prequels versus the look of the OT.
Yeah,
like it makes perfect sense, because when you think about the Roman Empire, you think about the shiny marble around the Colosseum, and then you skip forward 600 years. That place was stripped. It was. The marble was they took it and used it to build churches, and now everything looks like it's in ruins. It's normal. Like, people who complained about the look of the prequels don't understand history. Like, why you're going back in the past and everything's more technologically advanced? Yeah, because that's what happens when civilizations fall. That's what happens.
The universe had been broken by Palpatine.
Yeah. Exactly. And then you look at the sequel trilogy. Oh, how come it's not as advanced as the prequels? Well, it takes a long time to rebuild that, because you don't know when you get to the prequels. They've been there for 1,000 years. It took 1,000 years to get to that point.
Yeah.
So now you're 40 years ahead, and it's like, why doesn't it look the same? Well, I don't know. Use your imagination. I don't know. I can't help you. Like, if you need answers for everything and you need blueprints for everything, follow Star Trek. That's science fiction.
Yes.
You know, where this is science fantasy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It's so you got to take the good with the bad, and but if you're gonna judge the Disney era movies, I mean, this, like Mark said, this is the pinnacle. This is such a good look. There were things that were jarring, like the no crawl, and bam, we're on a planet. And it's like that. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's new. It's different.
Planet names in the corner of the screen as well. Yeah.
But not all of them. Like, we didn't get Mustafar. Like we
and I think it also has the advantage of, like, I also love Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yep.
So have me back when that time comes. I love it very, very much. But when you watch Solo, you're kind of waiting to see, what are they going to do with Han? What are they going to do with Chewie? Because we know these characters. Whereas Rogue One, they're all brand new for the most part. They're all brand new characters.
Yeah, the main characters are all brand new, whereas the characters we know are ancillary. Like they're there in the background.
And they explained why we don't see them in the future.
Right.
The best way possible.
Yeah. Well, you know what's
no
funny?
Loopholes, Corey.
Mark, when you were your opening comments, and you were mentioning. I wasn't sure where you were going when you first started. Where you were saying in the Disney era, and I was hearing you first as this movie tanked because Disney, and then I picked up what you were saying. So, but what I was hearing there, they killed off the heroes at the end of them. The good guys died, and for that to happen, nobody. I'm sorry. I think this movie is helped by that, because nobody saw a Disney movie since Old Yeller where that was going to happen, you know. And it's when we watch it. So we watched it last night. We got a brand new TV at Christmas. I went from a 40-inch to a 55-inch. This is the 40-inch. So we've been making our way through the movie. So last night was Rogue One, and my wife and my daughter will not pay attention because it upsets them so much that the whole crew dies, and they're like, how can this be your favorite movie? And I just look what it does. Look what happens 5 minutes after this. Luke, 2 hours after this.
Yeah.
You know, they're setting up for Luke to save the galaxy and dying to do that. So that's where I think it's just, holy cow, did you guys take a chance? You made us fall in love with this new crew of characters, and then you took them away. And the end result at the end for me is hope.
That's what Star Wars is.
I'm happy about it, you know. Yeah. So it just did it so well.
That's a great point. We're going to go around the horn again here. And again, we're going to try to keep this under an hour, but these things boogie along. That's why I try to cap them at like four people.
Good luck, Rob.
Yeah, I'm just gonna highlight a couple things. Obviously, we all really enjoy this movie. We're all in agreement. Knocked it out of the park. Great movie. We're all happy. Rogue One, fantastic. What I love, my takeaways. I'm gonna let you guys go really in depth. Obviously, there's a fight scene at the end. Darth Vader. One of you guys can make a meal out of that. I'm just gonna say I'm with you. Thumbs up. That was awesome. I loved it. Actually, I ended up with those watching the live stream. Vader, come get it. I got it. I got the plans in my hand.
Sweet.
Nice.
You like that, eh?
How do I get one of those?
After the show, I'll talk to you.
Shoot to Vader.
I don't want to let that thread go out on the live stream. Yeah, it is actually, because even this part here, look at. I know it's this horrible podcast.
Oh, that's great.
This is I'm actually holding up a data chip, and
stunning.
It fits
into the R2.
Into my R2. That's right. It's a data. It's basically the data they're passing along when Vader's attacking. I got one. Anyway, so yeah, the Vader scene, awesome. Killing off everybody, awesome. And you know why it's awesome? Because how many times have we discussed on podcasts or heard rumblings on the internet or on Twitter complaining, how come we've never heard about Kanan before Rebels? You know what I mean? And all the Jedi are dead. Now there's a bunch of Jedi out there. How come we've never heard about Ahsoka? This is perfect. They're all dead. That's why we don't see Jin later. Dead. Saw Gerrera, dead. Yeah, I mean, everybody's dead.
Well, and if I can jump in, they introduced Blue Squadron in the movie, and we're like, how come we never saw Blue Squadron? Oh, that's why.
And we get introduced to the first Red 5.
There you go. Yeah.
And why did that seat? Why did Luke get Red 5? Because the seat was empty.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy before you, dead. I like it really showed the grittiness of it right at the beginning. This guy knew that there was a pilot that defected, and he knew there was a planet killer machine. He knew right away. Oh my God, Cassian knew. He was like, oh, he can't follow me, so he kills him.
Yeah, it's actually Corey's favorite mercy killing.
Yeah. It's not a mercy killing. It's the fact that it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to kill you because I'm worried about what they're going to do to you. I'm going to kill you because I have to get out of here alive. Yeah, and they're going to get the information that they can't know.
Yeah,
it's just right
That's
off the top.
I'm excited for Andor because that stuff, that moral grey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shovel that on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if I went into the theater for the first time with my arms crossed, going, all right, let's do this. As soon as that happened, I was okay. Yeah, keep going. I'm here for it now. It was, and every time I watch it, I watch Cassian's face.
Yeah,
and he takes the guy out, and he's got that sort of half second of, God, I hate my job. Yeah, and he's off and running. You know,
choices were made.
Yeah,
he expresses that to Jin as well, doesn't he? He says, we've all done terrible things. They've all got blood on their hands.
He's like, I did it yesterday. And also, I got to say this right off the top. The CGI with Tarkin and Carrie Fisher at the end. I watched this with my oldest. She might have been around, 14 or 15 at the time. Anybody that doesn't know that actor, Peter Cushing is, Peter Cushing passed away and could not possibly be in Rogue One. Anybody that didn't know he was gone didn't know it was CGI. Mm-hmm. My wife watched it. Yeah, no problem. My oldest watched it. No problem. I knew right away, of course. And then once you know, it sticks out, and then the CGI eats at you. Yeah, same thing with Carrie Fisher at the end. Yeah, you can pick out all the flaws you want, but come on, it was
necessary.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
During my second viewing at the movies. The one thing I wish they were more talking with Hayden Christensen, even if they used him just for the Bacta tank, just his profile. Can you imagine just seeing him all scarred up and knowing it was him? And if the rumor came out that Hayden was in the movie and we only saw him for that split second, and then they put him in the costume for the fight at the end, fantastic. It would have been great. It would have been other than that, those are some of my highlights in the movie. Go around the
and the thing with the CGI characters too, if it wasn't for that, we all would not have flipped out 100% completely as we did at the end of The Mandalorian this season. that set us up for that major freak out.
Yeah,
and to me, Tarkin is such a part of the Death Star story. Put him in, yes, whatever it takes, get him in, and they did. You
may fire when ready.
Yeah.
Yes, and also all the people complaining. I saw a meme about this the other day. All the people complaining about Star Wars CGI did not see the Scorpion King in 2001.
Oh my goodness!
or the Mummy Returns.
The Mummy 2, yeah.
The Mummy 2, yeah. So okay, round the horn, Mark. I'm gonna toss it to you first.
Yes.
Again, we're not hitting this movie bite by bite. I mean, scene by scene. What are your takeaways? Favorite parts? You've seen the movie. You've seen it a million times.
Are we gonna discount that Vader scene at the end? Because
everybody loved it.
Any better than that?
I'm letting one of you, whoever takes it. There's like it's like that's the last donut. That's the last donut on the plate.
I won't take it. I will say, Kevin Smith once gave some advice to budding screenwriters and said you got to end better than you start. That's the reason that Vader scene is in there, because that's the shot in the arm you get after the story you've just experienced and the way it ends for the Rogue crew.
I thought
the only thing you can get at the end was that. They could have
when they get washed over by the light from the Death Star blast, Jin and Cassian, they could have credited it right there. Roll credits.
Yeah.
But I thought that exact same thought this morning, Mark. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I will say there are too many things to pick one really without doing the rest a disservice. But I will say that the character development, the character arcs in this film are great. No one's just a disposable character. Even someone like Bodhi Rook has got a complete arc from start to finish. That little arc of redemption that he goes through. He's a real hero in that movie. It's a fact. Last night, Carlos, you asked if there are things that change every time I see it. I particularly watched. I just listened to Riz Ahmed interviewed on a podcast this week, and I really like the guy. And so I paid close attention to his story in my viewing last night, and it's just such a beautiful little. It's fighting weight, this story of somebody that's petrified at the start and compelled, much like Luke, compelled onto this little miniature hero's journey. And you can see the courage it takes for him. And we get it punctuated with comments from K2SO, like, you're a rebel now, when he takes that one step across the line. And then what he has to do when he's getting the communication set up on Scarif, and then what it costs him at the end. And that moment of realization that this isn't the moment I pay for everything I've done, but he's redeemed. It's exquisite. Everything they do, all these little characters, everybody's got a miniature hero's journey, and I love that attention to detail, because some of the other films that have come out under the Disney banner, they've lacked that attention to character development, and that is what Star Wars is for me as an adult. It was,
and if I could touch on that point, what it does is, and I think JJ did it a little bit with the stormtroopers walking down a hallway and then stopping and turning around when Kylo was losing it.
Yeah.
They're trying to say that, like, not everybody in the Empire is bad. It's a job for some of these people. It's a job. And they actually are people. Like, they're not all evil. Like the guys at the top are evil, like Tarkin and Krennic in this movie, and the Emperor. Yeah, they have these evil motives, but they're recruiting people just to fill in spots because they need a certain amount of people, and we get that a lot in the Disney era of Star Wars, which is something that we really kind of didn't get before. And I think it humanizes a little bit the other side, not to look, we all have to make choices in life, right? But like not to justify the fact that you're working for the bad guys, but like you got to understand, like, some people need to eat, like so.
And again, it's what you're fed too. We get that a lot with The Mandalorian. Remember in one of the last episodes, we had that one guy was like, yeah, I was on the Death Star.
Yeah.
And then and
it was nice.
And she's like,
these guys.
Which one?
Sorry, Rob.
Yeah,
nice.
Right.
There's this conversation that all these stormtroopers have this tiny little water cooler chat about new starships, the XB-38 and all that. So these people don't view themselves as a part of a huge war machine. Yeah. They think they're doing their 9 to 5, and so they can chat about speeders and blasters and have these light conversations in the middle of what they're doing.
Terrorists that call themselves rebels.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Well, you think about George's, the themes when he was writing the movie was about, the dangers of, big government, big business, that sort of thing. The side of it too is when we're all part of it, what does that mean? Yeah. How do you rise above? The company I work for just merged with another company, and we're the fourth largest automaker on the planet. That's a little Death Star-y to me sometimes, but I'm going to go in every day and build my minivans because I need a paycheck. So yeah, but it's right. It's one of the themes. It's what happens when things get out of hand from the government, that sort of thing. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a great theme. Absolutely.
Okay. Carlos, I'm saving Mike to the end because I know he's gonna
in hour 3.
Yes, exactly. So Carlos, highlights again. We're not doing this bit by bit. We're just chatting about a movie we love. So your favorite parts.
Man, so tough. I would say K2SO. Just Alan Tudyk's performance is fantastic. I love how he's quippy and sassy, but not a priss. Like pretty much the antithesis of C-3PO, which was great. I loved seeing Vader in the bacta tank, and having that conversation and putting Krennic in his place in a way where Krennic is really this bad guy, but I think we see the hierarchy of what real bad guys are when Vader appears to him, when that door opens and that huge shadow is looming over him. It's that's great filmmaking right there. And
the DOP is worth his weight in gold on this, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But then the little prick grins after he gets strangled.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
He survived. He survived the encounter, right? He went up to the face of the beast and he came away from it. So
he tweeted #SquadGoals after that.
And also too, he's pretty young to be a director. You see his rank on his chest there.
Right.
He knows he didn't get there solely on merit. He knows there was a little bit of chokey above him on the ladder that got him there a little quicker than he should have, probably.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
And the shoulders are giants. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love Ben Mendelsohn in this film. I think that he's a character that you love to hate. Like, you want him to fail, but you love watching him do it, which is, I think that's how you write bad guys. You have to write them that way. You have to not want them to succeed, but watch them do it. Whereas sometimes it's like just bad guys, like, oh, get him off the screen. I don't want to see him. Like, you're repulsed by some people because they failed in the balancing act, right? Where here there was no failure in that balancing act. When he's on the bridge at the Citadel Tower, and now all of a sudden all those explosives go off, and he's like, "Are you blind? Like, deploy the garrison. What are you doing?"
Yeah, exactly. He's actually saying what the rest of us think when we watch a movie.
Right.
Of course.
Why are you taking so long to what?
Yeah. So, and I like that he's hands-on in that sense, whereas you get the feeling that Tarkin would be like arms crossed and just pushing the chessboards around, and he's a little bit more hands-on with that.
You see some of that with the Jeddah City, when Mendo, the Krennic really wants to go full tilt and blow everything to smithereens, and Tarkin's like, let's just dial it down. We're sending a message, right?
We're sending a message, not a manifesto.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, so I know it's there's so much about that I truly enjoy. I think that I was going to call her Kira, but I mean Jyn Erso. I like the actress. There's some parts that are a little clunky in her performance that maybe I think that the Kira character did better.
Also, too, not to be that guy, but when she was in that Imperial uniform at the end and her eyes are peeking out through the helmet, how adorable was that?
Oh no, she's no. No, you're right. There is this magnetic thing about the person, the actor.
Yes.
And I think that's, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, it's definitely not the worst Star Wars performance ever, and but I love the highlight of the movie for me is the Battle of Scarif, in conjunction with the space battle as well, because like this is a real space battle, like as opposed to, okay, we're attacking the Death Star and we see just three X-Wings and a Y-Wing, that's it. And yeah, we got a lot of that space, especially in episode 3, where we see at the beginning of the movie, like Obi-Wan and Anakin going towards Grievous's ship. That space battle is it's great. It's grand. It's when you think of Coruscant as being a city, a planet city, just the grandeur of that, and then to have that battle with this like upscaled visuals. Yeah. And but also telling the story from different perspectives,
and also too, not to be, I know it's Star Wars, but a slight little bit of realism. They go to hyperspace. They go to jump out at the end, and Vader and the Star Destroyer show up, and they start hitting him like it's
smash
like,
into it. Brilliant.
Of course that would happen. People back into people in the parking lots all the time. Why? Would
exactly. Exactly.
It's like, let us remind you how big a Star Destroyer is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. When you've already seen them teeny tiny next to the Death Star, the scale, right. This is why you get Gareth Edwards to do something like this, the Godzilla Master. It's the scale on screen is
right.
Breathtaking.
Excellent.
Well, and it's great too. It's Vader's TIE Fighter. Or I'm sorry, it's Vader's Star Destroyer.
Yes.
So,
right.
So wait, just quickly, one last thing. There are some things that I didn't like when you hear the Mon Calamar's voice. We're receiving a message from Scarif. There's something so cheesy about some of these voices. It reminded me of Daniel, Little Boba. Fire! Like, why are you doing that voice? And who okayed it? Like,
are you an angel?
Yeah, that was better. That was better than the Boba Fett thing.
Anything by General Hux? Anything he says, playing to the cheap seats.
But it's, sometimes it's the voice choices of the actors where like what, like just give
100%. It's almost like it's out of context too. It's my number one for that in my favorite Star Wars movie, Empire Strikes Back. Well, then I'll see you in hell. Yeah, and he takes off on the tauntaun.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you say I'll see you in hell? What? It hits the ear wrong every time, and that's my favorite Star Wars movie.
We're missing the cut scenes of the rebels after he does that. Going, God, he's such a dick. Sometimes.
Exactly. God. All right.
Cut to the control room.
Mike, final word.
Oh boy,
Rogue One favorite, and the donut's still sitting right there in the middle of the table. Like, we're all being very polite. Vader scene.
The Vader scene. I guess it's all right. I got the Tana V corridor this week from Hasbro. Nice. So. I've been playing with that. It's a dream come true.
Is the Vader scene better because of the matchup and the similarities with the Luke scene out of Mandalorian now?
You know what? I had to read that to even catch that. To be honest, that went completely over my head.
It gives it. I think when I rewatched it last night or this morning, I was actually the Vader scene was like, just a little bit more tastier. I don't know how they did it, but
yeah. Yeah, well, I think for different reasons. We were talking before about how they could have cut to the credits after Jin and Cassian died, and you're given the Vader scene. And the great thing is like, could you feel any lower than Jin and Cassian dying? And then the Vader scene, which is the most brutal thing through this whole movie.
Yeah,
I think you actually feel euphoric because it's that holy crap moment. He's doing it. Yes. It's that thing. And he, but then you hit another peak where the euphoric horror is replaced with euphoric hope with the Princess Leia scene. So no, I think it's necessary. I think they pulled it off. I think it's amazing. I love it. And fan service. I'm a fan. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Give me what you want.
Service me.
Yeah, exactly.
From the theater, please.
But as far as final thoughts, like I said, I'm a Rebel guy. I'm a Rebel base guy. I love X-Wings. I love Y-Wings. I may have too much of a crush on Angus McGinnis. But I just Jyn and Cassian are like, I can't pick a favorite. I love them both. I love what they do together. I love how they didn't have love scenes.
Yeah.
Yet I hate it that they didn't have love scenes. It's just, I loved what they both brought to the movie. A lot of guys, especially in the Commonwealth, you guys watch a lot of movies. So a lot of the times, these actors going into it. I had never seen, Diego Luna. I've never seen Felicity Jones in a movie before. So this was the first time. And I just love what they both brought to it. They just brought such heart,
Mm-hmm.
And I think also with both of them, maybe Jyn, even just her costume, her look was Star Wars. It was cool Star Wars, but it wasn't a white dress. It wasn't a white shirt and a black vest. It wasn't an orange flight suit. It was something different.
And it wasn't Padme with everything.
With different outfit every 5 minutes. So I remember, so we were saying, where were you when Rogue One came out? We had started the Sandcrawler back in September of 2016. So Rogue One was our first experience as
content
as a podcast. To experience Star Wars sort of online. And I remember saying, I think it was our after show right after the movie was on, that I'm like, I don't know if I can get it, but I would like to cosplay as Jyn Erso. I just thought her character was so cool. We'll have to let out the shirt a little bit, but
and not as adorable. I'm gonna have
to. Well, let's be But no, it's a movie that as sad as you can interpret the ending as, it gives me such hope. It's the movie that makes me feel the best it's the Star Wars movie that makes me feel the best after I'm watching it, even more than A New Hope.
Oh wow, nice.
It's they just Mark, you said it. They just pretty much nailed it on every front.
There's something musical about the timing, Carlos. I don't know whether you would agree, but the beats that it takes between the slaughter in that corridor and then going down that Tantive corridor, down that white corridor to Leia, with that alarm, that klaxon just sounding in the background. There's something about the measure of that scene that plays out that's just sort of bringing you right to that point when Leia turns around. Even if she hadn't turned around, that would have been fine for me. I got it completely what they were trying to achieve. But there's something so beautifully timed about that. It's perfect.
Well, it's one of those movies. There's beats to it. I remember I was watching my second viewing. I went on a matinee on a Saturday or something, and there's a couple in front of me, and they were big fans, and this was their first viewing of it, and they finally got there, and then, she said, I gotta pee, and it was right before the Mustafar, and I'm like, no, don't go now, but I couldn't say anything. I'm like, no, you're missing no, and she came back, and like, what did I miss? I'm like, God,
all of it, everything.
Like when she came back, I didn't hear the conversation because I was watching the movie, but I'm sure her husband would be like, "Yeah, Vader came." She'd be like, "Yeah, okay, sure." No, you missed it. He was in the back of the tank.
You wait till the end.
Yeah, exactly. So excellent, gentlemen. Again, this is not one of those beat for beat. Let's rip it apart. I think because we were doing the roundtable at the time. If you want, check out. I took all the roundtable episodes, put them on the SW Plus roundtable stream. So the Talk Star Wars stream is great because they have them as well, but you don't have to filter through all the in-between Talk Star Wars episodes. You don't have to go through all the fluff to get to the good stuff.
And there's a lot of fluff.
You can find, I'm joking, by the way, and you can find all roundtable episodes. So I'm sure there's a Rogue One reaction episode of us coming out of the theater podcasting that weekend. I'm sure that the audio was horrible. There's a lot of things, but if you want
I'll tell you what you will find. Sorry, Rob, to keep cutting you out. There's an interview I did with Rob Wade and Anthony Bresnikan, where immediately after Rogue One came out, we sat down with Anthony. He dedicated a couple of hours to us to chat about this movie, and that was a really nice insight into what goes on behind the movie, picking his brain. So that'll be a good one to hunt out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So again, gentlemen, thank you so much. It's so great talking about these. I guess The Last Jedi is next.
I'm busy that day. I'm so sorry I can't make it.
Yes, so we're glad to be back. We're doing, again, not every roundtable episode that wasn't, but we do love to squeeze in these retrospectives, and it's great. Slow news months. It's nice to slip these in. I'm going to go around the horn, tell everybody where people want to get a hold of you, where you're from, or whatever you want to, or your socials, whatever you got going on. This is your time to shine. Marc Godsiff.
Yes.
What do you got going on? If somebody wanted to.
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at SW Vintage Toy on Twitter. Basically hooked on the plastic crack. So everything I'm doing is there. You can see where my money's going. Especially
right over your shoulder. Anybody watching the live stream, look behind Mike. Mike has no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
I buy the odd figure,
SW Vintage Toy, and stay tuned for and all the other good stuff you got working on.
Yeah, there's some stuff on the back burner, but we'll cross that.
We'll get into that when it comes up. Yeah. Mike, where can the good people find you and your show?
Well, you can find me on Twitter. I am at Mike Tarkin. I would rather, though, you headed over to the Sandcrawler.net, which is the website of the podcast of the same name that I do with my co-host, Dengar Dan Lazat. The Sandcrawler.net.
Fantastic. Carlos.
You can find me on
Montreal, hanging about,
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at C Candido Music or at The Funny Carlos. You can also catch us on the Tumbling Saber Podcast. We're on a mini hiatus right now while Kyle gets his bearings with his new venture. But we will be back, and I'm looking forward to talking more Star Wars with Corey and Kyle over at Tumbling Saber. You could check us out at patreon.com/Tumbling Saber if you want to become a patron, a powerful friend. You get a lot of extra goodies with including ad-free shows and extra audio content. So go check that out.
Awesome. And whenever you see Carlos on the internet, swipe right. You will not be disappointed. Yeah, I'd use a hashtag, but I can't use it on this show. Yeah. You want to find myself? Carlos knows exactly what I'm talking about. You can find me. I am at Robert MMCast on Twitter and Instagram. I do a weekly show that if you want to know about that hashtag, I'll happily tell you on that. That's Roman Podcast. We're an adult broadcast, and that's every Wednesday. Comes out at 3 p.m. Eastern every week. So check out the Roman Podcast on wherever you listen to your podcasting content. Also, for this show, I implore you, if you're listening to us on Talk Star Wars, take a pop over, subscribe to us on Apple or Spotify, wherever you like, on SWC plus Round Table. Just so in the future, if we're not streaming on Talk Star Wars, then you won't miss out on any of this awesome conversation. Also, too, hashtag Rob's R2. R2 has not been out of the house in almost a year now, but that's where wherever I take my R2D2. I'm an astromech builder. Wherever I take them out into the public, I implore people, if they take a selfie with my R2 or something, use the hashtag RobsR2. So you can check that out, usually on Instagram and Twitter. Or, mostly Instagram for hashtag RobsR2, and you can see all the, I'm basically building a little visual journal of where he's been. Except he hasn't been anywhere in the last year, but you can still see him. It's R2.
Droid lockdown.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He's on lockdown. And, so that's it. So, gentlemen, Rogue One, 2 thumbs up all around. So 8, if my math is correct. That's still 8 in there for American and Friends. It doesn't matter, metric or imperial. So until next month, gentlemen, for Marc and Mike and Carlos, I'm Rob. Thanks so much. And we'll see you next time on the Round Table. Later.